Welcome guys, it is SARCO Championship Racing once again. We kick off our 2019 Season 1 with a Formula C 6-event championship. Each event consists of 2 sprint races, 12 laps each, with qualifying being determined by 1 flying lap. This is the highlights of Lobby 1, both race 1 and 2, and this championship is brought to you by Thrustmaster and Mega-ROM Games. So the starting lineup is as follows. In the 14th place is Dane from Dacol Racing. He's in car number 18, and he lines up against Andrew in 13th place for the Green Mumbers in car number 33. We move to row number 6. In 12th place is Colin, teammate to Dane for Dacol Racing in car 18, and he is alongside Jacques from the Turbo Turtle Racing, also known as TTR, in car number 43. Row number 5, and Marius for Silverback Racing, he finds himself down in 10th place in car number 68, and he is alongside Louis from Tosca 2, who's joined us for the season in car number 42. We move to row number 4, and the newly formed Project Cat Racing. Ross in 8th place, driving in car number 3. He lines up against Dylan from the newly formed Black Mumbers in car number 34. Row number 3, in 6th place is Dupi from the Turbo Turtle Racing, partner to Jacques in car number 43, and he is alongside the Tosca 1 driver Dirkie, also returning for another season in car number 30. Dirkie finds himself in 5th position. Row number 2, in 4th place is Gerard for Tosca 2, partner to Louis in car number 42, and he is alongside the 3rd place driver Bruno for Silverback Racing in car number 68. We move to the front row. In 2nd place, teammate to Dylan is Jakes in the Black Mumbers, driving car number 34, and he lines up against the pole sitter for Tosca 1, that is Charles in car number 30. So as we wait for the green lights to go, oh, that looks like Bruno's may possibly jump the start there. That's a great start there by Dirkie, managing to get around Bruno as they head into turn number 1. Around this oval section here at the Texas Motor Speedway. So Jakes leaves with Charles 2nd, Dirkie 3rd, Dylan up to 4th, starting in 7th. There's Gerard coming around the outside into the hairpin. Oh, that's Louis going in a little bit hot. Louis gone into his teammate, unfortunately it's taking him out there. On board with Dylan coming through turn number 4, trying to get as close to Dirkie as possible. Sets himself up for the chicane here at turn 5. Oh, he's gone a little bit wide, touched the grass, and he's gone off. And Ross making a move on the inside of Dupi, going into turn number 7. That looks like a Jacques. He too now moving up onto the back straight section, coming through turn number 9 here on the oval part of this track. We jump to our race leaders as they cross the line. Jakes first, that is Charles 2nd, Dupi's in 3rd, Bruno 4th. A very fast, flat out section here in these Formula C cars. Charles making a little look to the inside, but Jakes goes very defensive into turn number 3. Into turn number 4. Very tricky section because that corner tightens up on you. And the cars do not like the curbs on this track, so you've got to make sure that you are keeping it on the black stuff at all times. Charles following Jakes, going very wide on the outside there, then hard into this braking zone, hairpin corner, back onto the oval track. Dylan coming into turn number 7. Colin goes very wide. Dylan moves himself up a position into 8th place after his spin-off on turn number 6. Duppy and Ross are side by side. They're coming through turn number 10. Then across the start line. Ross looking for an opportunity, but once you getting to this part of the section of the track is that these cars are flat out, and there really is a great slipstream benefit for these cars. But Duppy seems to have held Ross out. Race leader Jakes here on a lap number 3. He still has a Scholl. Whoa, looks like a little bit of a sideways action there for Scholl coming into turn number 7. So it is a Black Mamba leading with the 2 Tosco 1 drivers in second place. In fourth place, that was Bruno. Still not sure whether he got that drive-through penalty. We'll have to just monitor that later on to see if he does go into the pits. That was Bruno there in the background. So as the 3 front runners cross the start-finish line, we'll jump on board with Durkee. Let him take us for a tour of this track. You can see how he's got that slipstream benefit of 2 cars in front. We'll have a look on the inside going to turn 3. Scholl stays very wide to try and get that run on Jakes. But eventually Scholl just lets Jakes go to tuck in behind him here into turn number 4. Tricky corner, because you can see that that corner actually tightens up on you. Into this tricky chicane where the car does not like any of these curves. Down this little infield straight section, then hard on the brakes again into turn number 7. Whoa, Durkee just touched the inside curve. You can see how I just unstabilized that car. Then hard on the brakes, hairpin here, turn number 8. Trying to get as much power down as quickly as possible to get that power on, so you have as much exit speed as possible to set yourself up for this oval section of the track. The single file as they cross the start finish line once again to begin a lap at number 5. Looks like Scholl might be having a look on the outside. Durkee, he now too is getting that speed benefit. He'll get a lot closer going into this braking zone. Durkee, he too now tries the wider line to try and cut back on the inside of Scholl. That was extremely close. Nearly contact there, but Jakes, he still holds this lead. So further down the field, still on a lap number 5, that's Ross, our Scottish international from Project Cat Racing. Whoa, that was extremely close. Did not see that coming. Duppy unfortunately is spinning out there and allowing Ross to move up. We'll just take this moment to have a look at what's happening in those positions. So Jake still leads with Scholl second. Durkee, he's in third with Bruno in fourth. Ross is fifth. Louis in 6th place with Jacques in 7th. Duppy 8th. Dylan 9th. Colin in 10th. Dane in 11th place with Andrew down in 12th, Morris 13th, and Gerard in 14th position. So at the moment, Andrew starting to apply some pressure here on Dane from Decor Racing. Out of turn number 3. Andrew driving with a new teammate still from the same stable. Andrew still with the Green Mumbas has now joined Jason Nell, as we've had Jakes from the Ninja Racing team formed a team within the Mumbas. We'll now have the Black Mumbas and the Green Mumbas racing. So we chase Duppy. You can see just ahead, that's his teammate Jacques. The 2 Turbo Turtle Racings, also known as TTR, join us again for this season here in 2019. Jacques starting to put a little bit of pressure there on Louis, who unfortunately into turn number 3 just clipped his teammate. Oh, there's some cones flying. This is a jump up to Jacques. You can see the difference in the 2 colors while the liveries are the same. There's Louis must have got a slowdown penalty. You can see him just allowing a Jacques to go through. But the mirrors on the Tosco 2 drivers are orange versus the TTO driver mirrors are red. We'll jump back to Dupi in this 3-car chain. Just want to see whether Dupi will be able to get the slipstream and get that run on Louis going into turn number 3. You can see how he's starting to close this gap down. We'll have a look around the outside, or will he dive down? No, he goes up. It just looks like Louis is trying to squeeze him on the outside there. Coming out of turn number 8 is our race leader, Jakes. We have a quick recap at the positions. So Jakes leads Durkee. He's moved up into 2nd place with Charles down in 3rd. Bruno is in 4th place with Ross in 5th, Jacques 6th, Louis in 7th place, Dupi 8th, Dylan 9th, Colin in 10th place, Morris making his way up into 11th, Andrew in 12th, Dane down in 13th position, and Gerard in 14th place. So once I'd finished with the positions, I noticed that Bruno had actually moved up 4 places. So I just wanted to jump back. We can see Bruno getting a great slipstream here on Scholl, going around the outside as they cross the start-finish line. He then tucks in behind Durkee. And he too goes around the outside. So Bruno getting a great run out of turn number 8. Finds himself right behind Jakes up into 2nd position. Here we see the red mirrored TTR drivers with Jacques having moved himself ahead of Louis. So Jacques up into 6th, Louis running a little bit wide. That's going to allow Dupi to get right up behind him. But Louis defends that line well. So Dupi unfortunately not able to take advantage of that position or that mistake that Louis had made. Into turn number 7. A wider line for both Dupi and for Louis. Here through turn number 8, it all depends whether Dupi can get a good exit out of this corner, because then he'll have the advantage of 2 cars in front of him, and that'll really help reduce that drag on that car and allow Dupi to set up for a move into turn number 3. In the background, that is Dylan, the Black Mamba driver. But it seems like Louis, he's actually catching Jacques. Out of turn number 2 into the braking zone, Louis goes wide, Dupi goes tight. Sorry, that Jacques there goes tight. But Louis got a great exit coming out of turn 3. We'll have a look on the inside here into turn 4. No, he doesn't. Jacques goes very defensive. So a great action here in this Formula C car. So a lap number 10, and Bruno starting to close that gap between himself and Jakes. Hard braking zone into turn number 3. Bruno taking the wide. Oh, Jakes got a very slow exit. That's allowed Bruno to move himself up into 1st place. Great drive there from Bruno. We jump on board with Jakes and follow the race leader Bruno. Oh, Jakes just touching that curve, having to slow down a little bit. So Bruno leads with Jakes in 2nd place. Charles, he's in 3rd with Ross in 4th. Durkee in 5th place. Jacques, he's in 6th with Louis in 7th. Dupi 8th. Dylan 9th. Colin down in 10th place. Morris 11th. Andrew is in 12th place with Dane in 13th and Gerard down in 14th position. Just want to jump trackside to the race leader Bruno, and we see, yes, He must have had that jump start because he's now gone into the pints, having to take the drive through. Just want to bring up these positions. So Charles goes past, Ross goes past, Jacques goes past, Louis goes past, Dupi and Durkee. So you can see that those 4 drivers were all extremely close there. Dylan, he moves himself up into 8th. Bruno now having dropped down to 9th place. So 3rd place driver Ross, he's starting to chase down Charles. Starting to think that there might be some damage on Charles' car. And in the background we saw the trio of the blue cars of the Dupi, Jacques and Louis. Just want to jump on board here with Ross to see whether he has that slipstream advantage over Charles. We can definitely see how quickly he is catching Charles as they cross the line to begin the last lap. Ross makes it look very easy going around the outside. Just want to jump to Jacques, coming into a braking zone, turn number 3, hard on the braking zone. We jump to Dupi here on the final lap. We can see these train of cars there in the background, that green little blob, that is Jake's. In a 2nd place is Ross. Well, that's Jacques going very wide coming out of the chicane. 3rd place is Charles. Just wanted to hold my breath there. Looked like Jacques was getting that car a little bit sideways. This is not going to be good for Charles if he does have the damage on that car. You can see it's in tow, these 2 TTR drivers. So Jacques will go around the outside. He will take the 3rd place over Charles. So Jakes will win, Ross 2nd, Jacques in 3rd place, just edging out Charles. Dupi 5th. Dylan will come home in 6th place with Durkee in 7th, Louis in 8th, Bruno down in 9th, Marius in 10th place, Colin 11, Andrew 12, Dane in 13 and Gerard in 14th position. So that was an extremely interesting race. Let's hope that the second one delivers the same goods. Race number 2, and this one-shot quali finds Andrew in 14th place for the Green Mumbers, and he's alongside Jacques for TTR Racing in 13th place. Row number 6 is an all-day call affair with a Dane in 12th place and Colin in 11th. Row number 5 and Durkee from Tosca 1 is in 10th with Gerard from Tosca 2 in 9th place. Row number 4, Ross from Project Cat Racing came a 2nd in race number 1. He puts himself 8th and he's alongside Dupi from a TTR, just managing to get himself into 3rd place in race number 1. In row number 3, Louis from Tosco 2, he puts himself 6th and he is alongside the Black Mamba driver Dylan in 5th place. Row 2, and it is a silverback affair with Bruno in 4th place and Marius in 3rd position. And row number 1 is Jakes from the Black Mambas in 2nd and Charles from Tosca 1 in pole once again. As you wait for the green lights for race 2, and it's a clean getaway for all the drivers. Nobody jumping the start on that one. Into turn number 1, Dylan's had a great start, tucking up right behind Marius. Charles leads with Jake 2nd, Marius now moving into 2nd. Well, that's Bruno cutting across and pushing Dylan off the track. Dylan taking a very unique line with Marius having a look on the inside here on Charles. Jake's around the outside. Bruno tucking in behind his teammates. So Charles leads with Jakes running a little bit wider lane. Marius to get ever so closer, coming into turn number 4. Well, Marius has to brake and go wider. That opens the door for Bruno. So Charles leads with Jakes, Bruno, Marius, Ross, Louis, then Dylan. Well, Louis running a little bit wide there. This is a jump to Louis just to see what happens, if there's any place changing. Well, there's Dylan making a move along the inside, coming into turn number 7. Well, Louis cuts into Dylan and pushes them both off the track. And that's the end of their race, unfortunately. This is a jump back to the front of the field. There's a Ross starting to put pressure here on Marius. Will they get that extra reduced drag benefit coming around at turn number 10 on this oval section? And we saw in the pits that was both Louis and Dylan in the pits. So what a jump to the front. There's side by side, a little contact there between Bruno and Charles that allows Jakes to go around the outside. But Charles fights back on the inside there. But that will leave Jakes on the little contact there between Charles and Bruno. We'll have to go back and have a look to see what happened there. So here we see Charles starting to move to the inside to defend that line from Bruno, take himself up behind Jakes. That just closes the gap. Bruno tries to get out of the way. Unfortunately, a little contact between himself and Charles, and that will send Bruno off spinning. Here come Durkee and Duppy. Well, contact between Ross and Bruno. Little flick of the nose cone there, and now Carrot, he's getting himself right up behind Duppy. This has been a very interesting start to this race. So back to the front, and Jakes is leading this race. We'll bring up the positions. Charles is in second place with Morris in third, Ross fourth, Durkee he's in fifth place with Duppy sixth, Gerard in seventh place, Andrews eighth, Bruno ninth, Jacques he's in 10th with Colin 11th, Dane in 12th, and Louis and Dylan are both retired in the pits. Just wanted to jump back to the action. This is Ross getting right up behind Marius. Ross has a look around the outside. Now coming into turn 1. He tucks back down into turn 2. Then into this braking zone here for turn number 3. So Ross unfortunately not being able to get that toe. And Morris will defend off that attack for now. So there is a three-way battle happening just a little bit further down the field. There's Durkee, followed by in shot is Duppy, and just behind Duppy very early on the brakes there, that is Carrot. So three teams are really battling it out here in the midfield. Just want to jump in the cockpit of Gerard. We should start seeing that slipstream benefit start kicking in as they start going into turn number 1. But now all 5 of these cars would be getting that benefit of the slipstreams. Out of turn number 2 into the hard braking zone here at turn 3. Well, Carrot just corrected himself there. He almost went into the back of Duppy. And it runs a little bit wide, so the challenge unfortunately is avoided. So we jump back to the leaders. And in first place is Jakes with Charles in second place. Morris is third. Ross is fourth with Durkee in 7th. Duppy is 6th with Louis in 7th. Andrews in 8th. Jacques in 9th. Colin 10th. Dane is 11th place. Here we have Bruno in 12th place. Unfortunately having been lapped and having to go and get those repairs. And with Louis and Dylan are both retired in the pits. We see Charles starting to have a look on the outside here of Jakes, with Bruno trying to go through the inside, trying to unlap himself, but Bruno backs off. Charles goes around the outside. That's a great move there by Charles, having gone around the outside of Jakes. through turns 4, 5 and out of 6. Then hard into this braking zone, turn number 7. Jake's taking a much tighter line there. Then through turn number 8, get the power back onto the oval section. We'll keep in this view. We'll just want to see whether Jakes will get the run on Shoal. Going into turn number 3. So across the start finish line, Jakes moves himself to the outside. Bruno will follow Jakes. You can see the benefit of that slipstream right up close and personal. Oh, they would nearly touch those two drivers. Or Jake, unfortunately, he gets the car to just slip off on him. Bruno being very sportsmanlike and moving out of the way for Jakes and not get involved with this battle. And across the line to begin lap number 5 goes Andrew and Jacques. Jacques having a move to the inside to take that place. But Andrew is fighting back. He now moves himself into the inside, coming into turn number 3. But Jacques taking what seems to be the faster outside line for this race. So Jacques, he moves himself up into 8th place, and unfortunately Andrew dropping down to 9th. So across the line to begin their 6th lap is the two Daycall Racing drivers currently sitting in 11th and 12th position. That's Dane getting a tow from Colin, but Dane should have followed him down to the inside of that corner, but now it looks like he might be planning a move to go around the outside. So Dane definitely would have been able to take that overtake, but I think that he did allow the maturity of the two drivers to go through. There must be some sort of respect or team orders in this team, because Dane definitely would have taken that place. So to the middle of the pack, and as you can see, it is extremely congested here in the midfield. That is a Duppy, Marius, Ross, Gerard, and just in front there we saw a Dirkie. So these guys are currently fighting for 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th position. Marius has moved himself to the outside. Will he go around the outside of Duppy? Coming into turn number 1, well, there's Ross trying to squeeze between the two drivers. But he changes his mind and moves to the inside. Here into the braking zone, turn number 3. Oh, that looked like it was contact between Duppy and Ross. We'll have to go back and see what had happened there. So that's actually quite a pity, because as you can see, there's actually quite a bit of space there between Duppy and Ross coming into the brakes. Then all of a sudden you'll see Duppy's car just kick and then slide out. But that definitely looked like there was contact, but between himself and Ross there wasn't any contact there, so there definitely is some sort of lag bubble there. Very unfortunate there for Duppy. Morris coming back to have a look in turn number 4. Gerard goes a little bit wider, I think, to avoid Dirkie. That allows Morris to go on the inside. Little oversteer there for Morris. He touches the dirt. That allows Gerard to come through side by side through turns 5 and 6. Morris tucks in behind Gerard, preparing for turn number 7. Looks like Gerard got a little bit of a slide there. Morris taking a much faster line coming out of turn 7. Now setting up for turn number 8. Morris is tighter. He'll really tuck in behind Gerard to get that downforce reduction. Yes, he does. I think Dirk is going to be in a little bit of trouble coming into turn number 3, because you're going to have both Morris and Gerard right up behind him. Morris starting to close that gap down on Gerard. And you can see Gerard starting to close that gap down on Dirkie. It's going to be a 3 wide coming into turn number 3. There they go, they move themselves into position. Morris to the inside, Dirkie on the inside and Gerard on the outside. Little lock up there by Morris, but he manages to get past Gerard, but now Gerard is on the inside for turn number 4. Morris comes back on turn number 4 and will attack in behind Gerard, coming through 5 and 6 once again. So we'll take a quick look at the positions. Charles leads with Jakes in second place, Durkee in third, with Gerard 4th, Marius in 5th, Dupi is in 6th with Ross 7th, Jacques 8th, Andrew 9th. So I had to just go back to see where Dane had taken that place from Colin. We see it actually started here at turn number 7. Dane got a much tighter line coming out of turn 7. Preparing to go into turn number 8, he was on the outside, but looks like Colin had let him go. But Dane got back on the power much better. It seems that Colin had oversteered the car, he lost that drive, and that was at that moment where Dane took it away. So in shot, race leader Charles will cross the line. Jakes is currently in a second place with Durkee in third. Gerard is in fourth with Morris in fifth, Dupi 6th, Ross 7th, Jacques in 8th, Andrew 9th. We see Dane has moved himself ahead of Colin in 11th place, Bruno 12th, and Louis and Dylan in the pits. So our third place driver Durkee, we see that he's started to catch Jakes, who's currently in second place, but Morris and Gerard are not letting up in this battle. Through turns 5 and 6. Morris still looking for an opportunity to get himself around Durkee. Much tighter line there for Morris in that entry, and he got the run coming out of turn 7. The tricky hairpin at turn 8. Morris is much tighter. Let's see, we feel a tuck in. He'll now get that downforce advantage. Coming out of turn number 9, now into turn number 10. Normally in the oval, this is turn number 4 on the start-finish line. Durkee tucks right up behind Jakes. He moves to the inside. Oh, there's Jakes going up against the wall. Not quite sure what happened there. We'll have to go have a look. So as we check the replay from Morris's point of view, we do see that it didn't seem to be contact. And we see Jakes going up into the wall and being eaten by the track. As Marius comes around, we see the track decides just to spit Jakes out again. And Jakes, unfortunately, with no rear downforce, spinning off the track. So coming out of turn number 10, we have Durkee, Marius and Gerard all fighting for third place. Charles is currently leading this race, about 6 seconds clear. Morris has got a great tow here on Durkee coming into turn number 3. Durkee is clean out of turn 3. Just in front we see that's actually Bruno. He's unfortunately down in 12th position. Through turns 5, turn 6. Morris tacking right up behind him into turn 7. Morris is going to, Morris ran a little bit wide there. I think Durkee was going very defensive. In the hairpin of turn number 8. You see Durkee is going after the slipstream of Bruno, but Bruno is just trying to get out the way here. Just want to see if Marius will come into the picture in the slipstream. But Charles will win. Durkee will come home in second with Marius third, Gerard in 4th place, Dupi 5th, Ross in 6th with Jacques 7th, Andrew in 8th. Dane will finish ahead of Colin in 10th, Bruno 11th, and Jakes unfortunately retiring to the pits with Louis in the pits and Dylan in the pits. So thank you very much guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, give our video a like. subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to hit that notification button. This championship was brought to you by Thrustmaster and Megarom Games. And tune in 2 weeks time when we head to Long Beach for round 2 of our Formula C championships. Thanks for watching, yos.